I've never really wanted to become a musician, singer, composer, or even just a songwriter who also happens to have this sort of sensation which comes from everything that surrounds me, and I have to put it into words. It's like I have to express all these feelings that speak to me from my reality, dreams, experiences, and there's no other way for me to do it. Growing up, I've always been a pretty wild little kid, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. And when I was a child, I used to listen to a lot of radio during the early 2000s, and at the time, there was obviously all Italian pop music playing, because the stations would just keep on playing the latest single of the latest, most nominated or famous artist here in Italy. And I remember that because, of course, there was nothing else. And I used to listen and learn every single lyric that I possibly could and sing them like it was nothing. And my parents were like, yep, he's becoming a radio itself. So, and they were pissed sometimes because I would never stop singing what I've just learned, and it was during that period that I don't know, during my childhood, I probably realized that singing was something unique to me, and that it was making me happy, free, joyful, peaceful, and it was like anything else. And yeah, I was doing a lot of other things, but that particular thing, like singing in particular, there was nothing else like it, honestly. Later on, starting the arts high school in Vicenza, I was experiencing probably the first insights that something inside of me was changing. Because I was constantly having this kind of fear that I wasn't belonging to something, like most of the teenagers really felt at the time. But it was something special. I felt the urgency, the commitment to express myself through art. My art is something that I was deeply and emotionally pursuing. And the teachers back then used to, I don't know, they used to be so confused about me. They would tell me I couldn't draw, just to finally realize that I just needed some practice and experience like anyone else really. I started to skateboarding when I was 15 and I loved it because it was the only sport that I could have done without someone constantly yelling at me what to do. And for a teenager, that's like a big dream, to be honest. It was like I don't know, this thing that you could afford, that you could do. You can buy a skateboard, like they were very cheap, and they are still very cheap, but they are very inexpensive. So I don't know. There was nothing better than that, right? Nothing better than going out on your skateboard and just be free and be young, and yeah, they were good times. During my 13th till my 18th, I was experimenting many ways, styles, genres, and approaches through my music. And it was all rubbish because I used to play with what I had at the time, and what I had at the time, it was really nothing at all. So I used to put a microphone inside the sound box of my first classical guitar to record a whole blues and metal album, and it was awful, really, because you could barely hear my voice, and on the other hand, the sound of the guitar was constantly clipping. And I also remember that my first electronic synth pop alternative record, call it whatever you want, I don't know, it was pretty crap, to be honest. And I don't know, I was like sitting there in the chair in front of a wardrobe, and I was recording my voice, and all of the other sounds and instruments played from the little tiny little computer speakers that you can possibly think of, and it was such a mess. During my 20s, I formed my very first real band and started playing different gigs around town for about 2 years, I would say. We made an album, and still I wasn't able to sing that good, to be honest. And I remember a guy which came up to me right after one of the band's concert and said that I had a weak and bad voice. He also said a lot of bullshits about our band itself, but that moment got me thinking, what if he's right and I've never noticed this thing about my own voice? He absolutely wasn't that good of a singer either, because I saw his band playing a live gig once and he sounded terrible during the whole performance, but that little statement got me through a process to improvement of my own voice, and that's when I started to really sing with my real voice and emotions. And that brought me here, right now, starting my solo artist career. And I can't wait to share it with all of you. Much love, Davidecu.